Hey, what's going on, folks? Hebrew Thought once again. Just wanted to get in touch with you guys, man. Share my thoughts on a few things I've been seeing over the Twitter sphere, the internet in general. Um, since the since the beginning of 2019, well, really, if you want to go back, for those of us that have been paying attention to this discussion for a long time, especially uh, the since Trump hit the scene, the discussion around reparations has really picked up, particularly within the last year or so, with folks like, of course, um, Yvette Carnell and Tone Talks. Antonio, I think Moore is his last name. Um, Along with these talks, you know, those two individuals in particular were really hitting on ADOS. I know that there have been other people in the field for a very long time, a lot of professional people. There's a doctor, I forget his name right now, but he has a ton of research on ADOS um, and the impact, the economic impact on black people that racism has had. So there are a lot of people that have been, talking about this subject. And so what I'm seeing, and if you're not familiar with ADOS, it's a it's sort of like a political movement that is basically pushing for reparations from the United States government to descendants of African American slavery. Okay? Descendants of enslaved Africans in America. And I really have no problem with it. I am a um, I am a self-described Hebrew, but from a political standpoint, I went, early on. I started off as a Republican and conservative, and then with Obama, I switched to Democrat. And since Obama took office, I'm back to an independent. And I've been that, not really leaning on any one particular party or believing in any one particular party. I firmly believe, as a black person in America, you shouldn't have your faith in political parties, which is why I don't understand the the Blexit people, the Candace Owen types, and the Anthony Brian Logan types. These black Trumpers. I don't subscribe to that. Um, but what I'd like to talk about is sort of the resistance that I see to it. And there's this guy on YouTube, No Cupcake something, No Cupcake Zone or something like that. And I believe he's a a brother. He's a brother, but a brother from, I think I heard him say Haiti. I think so. He may be of Haitian descent, and he he's always kind of, and this is a lot of the pushback I see from people like him and Garfield A. Reed and folks that are against ADOS. I think it's because of a misunderstanding that they have of ADOS, and I'm not necessarily sure if they are against the political stance that blacks in America, descendants of slaves, deserve the reparations. I think what they are concerned with is some of the rhetoric that we all see. And I admit some people can go overboard with the rhetoric. Black immigration here in America makes up for a very small percentage of the actual immigration that is coming here. It's mainly from Latin America, and I think it should be stressed that, you know, our issue with the immigration is not so much, focused on Africans, but the immigration process as a whole, in particular illegal immigration, which affects Black Americans at a very high rate. You know, on the other end, because the undocumented workers usually take unskilled labor jobs, Latinos in general, usually taking those jobs, while on the higher end, you get immigration from Asian countries and Africa to a small extent that take jobs, higher, more technical jobs on the high end. So, um, and often, you know, immigrants are used to kind of the weaken the political discussions centered around American racism and its effects on particularly African Americans, people who have been here from the very start. So, from that standpoint, I think all all people who are more recent immigrants, descendants of more recent immigrants, particularly Black immigrants, I say that you should be behind ADOS 110%. And you should be able to understand that the Pookies and Ray Rays out there that may be on Twitter or get a YouTube page or whatever are not the majority of us. And we are in very much solidarity with our African brothers and Caribbean brothers all over the world, because your struggle is our struggle. And while I do believe that Africans, Black people in America, people of descendants of slaves, ADOS, I believe that we, more than anybody, deserve our reparations in this country. What the things that have been done to us from a physical standpoint to the spiritual, mental, psychological things that are done to us, the little microaggressions that are done on the daily, these videos of Black men being murdered by police and killed, and these images of that go on your TV and phones and your computers. All that stuff sinks into your psyche, man. There's even scientific study that's suggesting that trauma is passed down genetically as well. So you think about that, how it's affected us as a people, and then when we just look at the raw data and the raw numbers, I think we deserve reparations for everything that happened after slavery by itself. Okay? So, and I think Caribbean and African immigrants to this country should be thanking African Americans, because had it not been for African Americans, this country would be intolerable to you, and you wouldn't be able to be here. If it had not been for the many brave African Americans that have died, running for office, public office, or marching, speaking out, or just going to vote in some cases, had it not been for those people, you wouldn't be here. The Irish probably wouldn't be here. The Asians wouldn't be here. So I think everybody, especially if you are a more recent immigrant to this country, America, you owe a bit of debt to the descendants of American slavery. So, again, to my African and Caribbean brothers and sisters, to my Black people all over the world who do follow Black Americans politically, in terms of you listen to a lot of our voices, you listen to our Tariq Nasheeds, our Yvette Carnells, our Black authorities, our Jason Blacks, our Professor of Black Truths, all those people, Dr. John Henry Clark and all that, we are definitely one people. But support your ADOS brothers. Support us, man, because we will support y'all, and we always have. So, with that said, this is Hebrew Thought, man. I just wanted to talk that out, man. Peace and unity amongst the camps, amongst the brothers. Pan Africans, you should support ADOS. ADOS, you should support Pan Africans. You should support your Hebrews. Support your Nation of Islam. Support your black Christians. Support your black Muslims. Support your black. As long as they are understanding and operating with the mindset that we have an obligation and we have a huge responsibility to black people, regardless of religion in particular and political affiliations. Because if you could be a black Democrat, I could be a black Republican, a black independent, a black libertarian, whatever. But as long as these people understand the wrong that has been done to people that look like you in the American society, and even though we have helped build America and the cultural enrichment that we give to America on a daily basis, as long as you understand that our particular history is very unique and America has never, ever made that right, as long as you're standing there, as long as we come together on that, you're good. You're my brother, you're my sister, and I will fight for you. But if you're one of these types that is, anti-black at all for any reason and don't think that we should get in reparations, you're definitely on the side of the enemy to me. And, you're someone that should definitely be isolated, excommunicated, whatever you want to call it. All right. Hebrew Thought, I'm out. Y'all be blessed, man. Shalom. Happy Sunday.